Good morning, students. Today we get into the coins and we come to page number 44, the topic coins and kings. We have already seen that the earliest coins in India were the punched mark coins, which had been in circulation for since about 300 years before Christ, some dated even 500 years before Christ. And the first coins to bear the names and images of rulers were issued by Indo-Greeks, who established control over the northwestern part of the subcontinent in when 200 years before Christ. So they were the first ones that they essentially trying to tell you that earlier the coins used to be having the logos and the emblems of only those kingdoms and empires, but by 200 years before Christ, when along with the when Indo-Greeks started ruling in India and the northwestern part of India, they started issuing the coins which used to have the faces of the emperors, and that really caught on. And after that, almost every king started doing it in India. Okay, the first coins were issued, or the first gold coin were issued by the Kushans in the 100 year AD, and they were virtually identical in weight with those issued by contemporary Roman emperors and also the Parthian rulers of Iran, and have been found from several sites in North India and Central Asia. So the Kushans were the first ones who started issuing gold coins, and we've also seen that Kushans came from the areas around northern Afghanistan and Turkestan and Uzbekistan, those areas, and then they started coming. They were their origins were there, but then they ruled over huge parts of central and north India, and Mathura was of course a part of the Kushan Empire. So imagine a situation where right from Afghanistan to today's Pakistan to today's Punjab, Rajasthan, all these areas right till western Uttar Pradesh used to be under the Kushan rulers. So it is actually it's quite a lot of geography. Okay, now and not just that, under the powerful ruler like Kanishka, who was also a Kushan ruler, it is believed that the Kushan Empire stretched not just till Mathura but even till Banaras. So it's actually a huge geography. So naturally you have to understand that you cannot rule over such a huge geography by being a foreigner. You will have to indigenize, you would have to adapt to the local customs and traditions and behave like an Indian, and only then you would find it easier to rule. Now, coming to again back to the importance of coins, what coins also tell you that huge amount of coins were also found in South India, the Roman coins, that is, and we've always discussed that the Romans were extremely fond of the spices that were grown in South India, and a lot of Roman traders used to frequent South India in search of these exotic spices. So it is no surprise that a lot of Roman coins have been found in South India. Now, some of the most spectacular gold coins were issued by the Gupta rulers. Though Kushans were the first ones to issue gold coins, but the Gupta rulers were the ones whose gold coins are remarkable in terms of beauty and purity. Okay, these coins facilitated long distance transactions from which kings also benefited. Now, from 6th century AD, that is 600 years AD, the finds of gold coins taper off, that is, kind of start disappearing. Now, does this indicate that there was some kind of an economic crisis? Now, this essentially it means that the quality of the the Gupta coins, the gold coins issued by the Guptas, that started deteriorating after 600 AD. So a lot of historians actually are of the opinion that it started the 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 purity of the gold coins started coming down after 600 years AD under under the Gupta rulers, because the prosperity of the Gupta Empire must have also started dwindling, and that is exactly the reason why the purity of those coins actually took a knocking. Back to basics. How are inscriptions deciphered? Students, pay attention to this topic. Deciphering Brahmi. We have already seen that in the early part of this chapter, how Brahmi and Kharosti, about the languages which had foreign origins, but definitely they were the most widespread languages that was used in India under the Mauryas, and even the later rulers for that matter. Now, most scripts used to deciphering Brahmi, most scripts used to write modern Indian languages are derived from Brahmi, the script used in most Ashokan inscriptions. And we had seen that these languages have foreign origins. Now, from the late 18th century, European scholars, aided by Indian pundits, worked backwards from contemporary Bengali and Devanagari, the script used to write Hindi. So, students, we all know that Hindi is not a script, it's a language, but the script is Devanagari. For example, for example, if you go to Nepal, now Nepalese, when you read whatever is Nepalese, it sounds very, very different. It sounds very different, okay, when they write it. But the script is again Devanagari. They have the same script which we use to write Hindi. Okay, so if you go to Kathmandu and these places, you would see everything appears to be written in Hindi. Okay, just it appears that way, though it is Nepali, but it appears that way because the script is same, which is Devanagari. Okay. Now, scholars who studied early inscriptions sometimes assumed these were in Sanskrit, although the earliest inscriptions were in fact in Prakrit. Now, Prakrit is a very much an Indian language. It doesn't have foreign origins. It very much developed around the central and northern part of India. In fact, some believe that it came out of Sanskrit, but some also historians believe that it had independent existence of its own. Now, how Kharosti was read. The story of the decipherment of Kharosti, as we have seen all the time, it is a language with foreign origins. The script used in the northwest is different. Here, finds of coins of Indo-Greeks who ruled over the area have facilitated matters. Okay, these coins contained the names of kings written in Greek and Kharosti scripts, because the kings had their faces, not just their faces, but also their names in them. Okay, and also the period during the year, definitely when they were being issued. Even today, if you look at the coins, it always has the year when it has been issued, right? And it would have like in England, it would always have the of the reigning monarch, Queen Elizabeth is always there in her in the coins and the currency notes of the notes that is issued by them. Yes. So these coins contain the names of kings written in Greek and Kharosti scripts. European scholars who could read the former compared the letters. For instance, the symbol for A could be found in both scripts for writing names such as Apollodotus, with Princip identifying the language of the Kharosti inscriptions as Prakrit. It became possible to read longer inscriptions as well. Historical evidence from inscriptions to find out how epigraphists. Now, students, who is an epigraphist? Epigraphist is someone who just, in simple terms, it means those who study inscriptions. Okay, now they are known as epigraphists. But students, you'll have to understand inscriptions and writings or handwritings both are entirely different things. Inscriptions would be, that is something that is inscribed in monuments or in rocks. So that is an inscription. What is written in like in paper and written on the barks of the trees, that is not known as inscription. It is something which is done on, you got it, monuments and rocks. And so those who study that, they are the ones who are known as epigraphists. And epigraphists and historians work. Let's look into the two Ashokan inscriptions more closely. Okay, note that the name of the ruler Ashoka is not mentioned in the inscription. What is used instead are titles adopted by the ruler. Devanampiya, we had seen that Ashoka did not like grand titles for himself, Maharaja Dhiraj and all those long, the ruler of this and ruler of that. He was simply Devanampiya or Raja Ashok or Samrat Ashok, and he was okay with that. Okay, so we come to know about this because of the title that he has used in those coins, often translated as beloved of the gods and Piyadasi or pleasant to behold. The name Ashoka is mentioned in some other inscriptions as well, which also contains these titles. After examining all these inscriptions, the findings that they match in terms of content, style, language, and paleography. Now, what is paleography? That is now the study of, as we saw, that inscriptions are different and handwritings are different. Those who study inscriptions are known as the epigraphists, and those who study handwritings, students, they are known as paleography. That is, the study of handwriting is known as paleography, and definitely those who study that would be paleographists. Okay, so there is a slight kind of, they look similar, but they are not. Handwriting, that is, in fact, to elaborate a bit, paleographists not just they do go through what these handwritings are about, but they also try and decipher even the dating of those handwritings, as to they just don't read it. They are also kind of, the good ones are also able to figure out as to which period this could have been written. Okay, how old could the text be, or whether that handwriting, looking at, if that kind of handwriting or that kind of script was there in use for 300 years or 400 years or 500 years, during which period in time. So they are also responsible for letting us know as to from which period to which period those handwritings could have been from. Okay, so it is not just about just reading the names and things like that. No, it's much more than that. Okay, we shall continue. Thank you.